Hello, sketchbook warriors and sketchbook heroes. We've got a welcome. We've got a great book tonight, The Mad Art of Caricature, and it's by somebody who it's by Tom Richmond, and he's let's just jump right into it because there's a lot to share. So I'm going to put a link of this so you can have this actually in the comments. So as you watch this video, you can get this. This is actually from the Internet Archive, archive.org. It's great, and we're just going to do it. So we'll probably do half of the book today, and then half on another day next week. So it's a serious guide to drawing funny faces, and this is great stuff. I mean, if you're just looking at these things, they just even look fun to copy. But he really gives you some steps to do it on your own, and I think copying is good. Even tracing is good. So if you need to do that and that's where you're at, it's all good. It's all good. You should always challenge yourself, and also don't over challenge yourself. You gotta know where you're at, until you get to the point where you're a little bit frustrated. Sometimes it's like, I can't get it. And then when you get it, it's like, oh my gosh. Like, and have a sketchbook. So here it is. I put it in the chat. I'll put it in the chat again. If somebody wants to keep an eye on what it is, if anybody new comes in to the Zoom class, and we can add it to the chat again. All right, so what is character? It's basically 9 chapters, great chapters. We'll probably go through 4 or 5 of the chapters. Somebody's coming in right now. The elements of caricature. What is a caricature? Equals perception, exaggeration versus distortion. Learning to see. Really good stuff. Really good stuff. It really coincides with drawing faces and everything. So it's going to really help. A basic caricature theory, head shape. Hello, hi, Anne-Francois, welcome. Hi, good to see you. We're going to put it in the chat. Somebody can put it in the chat, the link again for the book we're going over. We're going over the book, this book by caricatures, this one, The Mad Art of Caricature Drawing by Tom Richmond. All right, so we're going, I'm just going over the contents, the head shape, drawing and character features, the eyes, the nose, the mouth. We'll probably stop around there, probably chapter 4. And then here it's a caricaturing the rest of the head, the lower face, the upper head, beyond the face, drawing live caricatures, caricature in illustration, caricatures, and Mad Magazine, because yeah, doing some of the work for Mad Magazine. Really good stuff. There's a forward look at, I mean, just even this, just the feel of that face, really solid, really solid. He doesn't really go into form too much. He just goes into drawing. But he definitely has a lot of icing, the icing on the cake that I call. He doesn't talk about value and shading, but he really talks about structure and stuff like that. But the shading, you know who these guys are. These guys are from, and actually these are all the 007 characters. There's those 2 from Spies Like Us. And here's a little bit about the book. Again, you can take your time and peruse it and draw these, trace these. The more you practice, the more you'll progress. It's all about practice, and seeing how these faces are exaggerated. Great stuff, great stuff. Here's what is caricature? That's a great question. What is it? Well, these are some false, what people have heard. Caricature described many different ways. Like caricature is where they pick one thing on your face and make it bigger. Kind of, it's a little bit, but that's an oversimplification. Caricature is where they make you into a cartoon. To the downright incorrect, caricature is supposed to be funny. It's not supposed to look like you. The best definition he's ever heard is a caricature is a portrait, is a portrait with the volume turned up. And you can see here some volume turned up with these characters from Lost. Great caricatures there. Let's go full screen. Yeah, what are we doing? There we go. That's better. And look at that recognizability. And I was going to do that too. I was going to bring it up. And can you tell who it is? Can you tell who it is? And look at that. So there's 3 parts to it. Having something recognizable. Can you recognize who it is? Can you, and have something exaggerated? Definitely exaggerated. Then you have to draw the face just by the hat and the hair. There's recognizability, making your things recognizable. We'll be drawing stuff from here. You can go from mild to wild. You can see how much you exaggerate, totally exaggerate a face. Don't want to do it too much, but you can see these shapes. Look at that. You can see that upside down, like I mentioned it as was like a strawberry shape last week, and he has those shapes. These are great faces. Butch Cassidy and and David Letterman. Statement. So you can go in to see that, and we even did Snoop Dogg last week. There's a version of him too there. All right, and yeah, let's. I should have had notes. I was reading through this and some great stuff. Great stuff. Check it out. I was trying to highlight it, but you can tell who these people are. Another kind of like a triangular face or upside down. So these are really good. We can actually even go back if there's any requests. You see any that you like and want us to draw, we can draw them. But here's exaggeration. You can see exaggeration versus distortion. Distortion is just like really distorted. There's no rhyme or reason. Exaggeration, you exaggerate certain parts. The nose. A caricature. There we go. That's funny. I should have made notes, but it's all good. I'm just going through these. I'm going to point out the important stuff. Learning to see, learning to observe, taking a ruler, and just what we've been doing with drawing faces. But here it's all just knowing the structure and then exaggerating. There we go. Gaga. All these faces. Got a lot of shading. Really doesn't talk about form. Yeah. Maybe I should have done it. Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of interesting as I went through this. Okay, so basic caricature theory. All right, so here's some really exaggerated drawings and some great stuff right in here. If you're watching the video, you can pause and draw these or trace them, or go into the comments and download it for yourself. It's at archive.org. Here's the 5 shapes. All right. So there's 5 basic shapes, and then there's the head shape. That's the most important shape, and that's the shape I always start with. And then you have the eyes, one eye, and then eye number 1 and eye number 2, the nose and the mouth shapes. Those are the 5 basic shapes for the face. And then there's different relationships. So here's the 3 basic relationships. So size, distance, and angle. So we're going to go ahead and draw these just really quickly, and then we'll get back to the book. All right. So you got to it's good to copy. It's good to practice. So I'm going to draw these. Let me zoom out a little bit. I wonder if I can zoom out. I should be able to zoom out. Let me make it smaller, I think. Oh, there we go. All right. Let me see. Oh, here we go. Let's double page it. That's it. Boom. There they are. All right. So, ooh. All right, we'll do these 4, and then we'll do these on the next page. On the next page, it's those 5. So we'll draw them out really quick. You can see here some examples of the underlying shapes. There we go. Let's do this. All right, let's something in the chat already. Slash, yeah. All right, here we go. Let's do it. There we go. And then we'll just draw these. Really simple. There we go. Let's jump on in. All right, here we go. All right, so we've got the first one. The first one's like the most natural head shape, right? And it is that kind of like circle with that egg kind of shape, right? It's that shape most heads are. No real exaggeration. Eyes are kind of pretty much in the middle, right? We have our egg shaped head. The eyes are in the middle. If you want a line of symmetry, you can put a line of symmetry to help make your drawing symmetrical. You want the eye out kind of centered on each side. And that's where that kind of face is. And really simple, you can draw simple football eyes. They don't have to be perfect. As the more you practice, the more you'll progress, the more you'll see how eyes are constructed, the more you'll see how things are constructed. The more you study proportions and where things are supposed to go, you can kind of do that. And here's the mouth. The mouth should, in a normal face, should be right below the center of the eyes, right in there, kind of like that. And that's kind of like the spacing. That's the first one. All right, we got the first one. I'll zoom in a little bit. Why don't we zoom in? Looks like a mask. Let's do the next one. The next one does change the size. The eyes get bigger and the nose and the mouth get smaller. That's the first exaggeration, and it gets wider as well. So notice that exaggeration. It's got this. Here we go, right in there. It's almost it's rounded. It's still got that shape. It's a little bit then flattened here, and then put down here. So here's the chin or the jaw, that jaw. So there's that shape, that shape. And this is actually, if he calls it heavy, a heavy face.
The eyes kind of look like lemons.
Yeah, well, these ones, yeah. Well, yeah, they do. They have that little bit of pointy sides to them, and they're really low, almost like a kid too. The eyes are really low. Instead of being right in the middle, they're a little bit lower. So this is probably the center, and that's probably below the center, and then everything else is like right in here. I can actually put it all together into a little thing right in like that, the nose and the mouth. But yeah, they do kind of look like lemons with little points to the side. And actually, that's a good point, because then if you find those points, like right in there, find those lemon points, then the top is really top heavy, and then the bottom is not as wide. Do the same thing over here. I don't know if I'm missing my center line here. There we go. And there it is. And look, notice the exaggeration. This is almost like a baby face. It's a baby face has the big eyes, and then and all the facial features really low. The nose is right up in there, and then the mouth really small. Actually, even bringing it up a little bit higher, all up in there. Yeah, lemon eyes. Plus the the shape is yellow as well, so that kind of makes it look more like a lemon. And then distance. All right, let's see. I'm gonna have to probably zoom out for this one a little bit. And this one's more like a what is that? Like a what fruit is that? A guava, or I was gonna say a different fruit, but it looks more like, I guess I don't know what that fruit is called. It's not a pear, but notice
Kind
the
of avocado.
okay, kind of like an avocado. Yeah, a little bit of a stretched avocado, but yeah, it does have that avocado kind of look to feel to it. That's a good connection. And that's what you want to do. You want to see the face, and that's the first thing you want to see is the face. What shape is that face, right? And then exaggerate it, exaggerate that shape. So yeah, it kind of looks like an avocado. And let's see, here, right at the widest part, probably a little bit. Yeah, right there. That nose got a really big nose in there, big nose shape. And this is just the structure. There we go. And then down here. It was great. He says all this sketching stuff is done in your head. And I'm like, wow. When I read that, I was like, oh, that's awesome that he actually says it. It's somewhere in the book. He says all this sketching stuff is done in your head. And the sketching part is really important. But as an animator, especially if you're on, it's in the section, I'm sure. It's in the section, drawing live. Yeah, you have to do all that in your head. That's distance. All right, one more and we're done with this page. Let's go to the next one. Let me just see. All right, that's good. Turn it off. All right, the next one is now has a little bit more angle. I think this one's just a little more stretched out. So it's the same as our first one, but just a little more stretched out. This shape is a little more stretched. So you're
Are
pulling it down a lot more.
are we all drawing the same thing, or are we individually drawing?
There's a book, so I can post it in the chat again. I think, let me see. We're on it's page 16. Oh, that's not it. Hold on a second. is. There's the book. There we go. It's even on the right page, page 15. That's pretty cool. You can also download it. Let me go over here, back over again. So if you want to download the book and keep the book right now, this book is on. If you're just looking at it through the link, you'll see this. Now, if you click on these little ellipses here, you can actually download the actual PDF, or you can just keep looking at it in the browser. So you can actually download the actual file.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh, I pulled it up on my phone, but it keeps skipping, the pages keep skipping around, and it's very annoying. It's not letting me stay on that page.
All right. Well, you can just go. I don't know if you because I did copy and paste it in the there we go, art there.
What's me? Do you like my drawing?
Bye. Sorry about that. Yeah, and I knew he sounded familiar. Let me see. Let me clear that. Sorry about that. All right. Let's just keep piling away. That's the thing, don't let things get you down. All right, here we go. Now, so you're changing the angle of the eyes and the angle of everything. So the only thing that's actually the same is the nose. The nose is the same. So I've got my shape here. That's moving right along. We'll edit that out eventually someday. All right. The nose is pretty much centered. So I can see the nose. I can see the placement of it. I try to see the middle. That's where I see the nose. The nose like starts at the middle and then comes down. And it's probably the only thing that's centered. That's the only thing that's symmetrical. Everything else is changed by angle. The mouth is way on one side. You can see the mouth on one side, and then you can see the eyes are kind of straight. One this way, one this way, and then curved. Top's curved. One that way, and then curved that way. All right, let's do the next one. Let's see. Oops. All right, so on the next page, here we go. These are the last 6. We'll do these 6 and then we'll jump into it. But this is good, just good to just practice. All right, let's over here. Oh, where's my chat? There it is. I almost have to recover from stuff like that. It's funny. That's all good. Doing better at recovering faster. All right, here we go. Bam. There it is. Capture that. Send it. All right. I'm going to stop sharing. So we're going to draw those 6 and then we're going to move on. All right. So it's in the chat. Stop sharing. There we go. Let's jump to those. Thank you for joining us. Here to have fun. Some people's idea of fun is trying to shock or trying to, I don't know. They need attention or who knows what it is, but that's all good. All right. So the next face is stretched out. It's kind of like this face, but just stretched out. It is just stretched out even more. So there's an exaggeration. You can't even see the circle anymore, but I can see these angles here and really changing the ratios, the angles of the sides, and it's a lot longer. It's definitely a lot longer in shape. I'm trying to see a square in here, but yeah, the square would probably be way over here. It is longer, and then it comes in. So definitely I talk about ratios, which is the height compared to the width. And this face is definitely longer than it is wider. So if I were to make a square in here, it's definitely can see how it would add to the side of it. So here's the top of my shape. Here's the sides. And then just trying to capture that shape. Really sketchy, but you know, it's all good. All right, the eyes are centered. Eyes are right in the middle. And here's my axis line right in there. And then let's get these eyes in here. The eyes are actually a little bit closer to the center because they're really making a wide face. So let's see. There we go. Let's go and zoom in a little bit. Yeah, so they're not really centered. These eyes are really a little bit closer to the middle, making the face a little bit heavier, having the eyes closer to the center. Because here's this would probably be the middle of that middle, right? So these eyes are right there. And let's take a look. Let's take a look. The nose, pretty in the middle as well, right there. And then the mouth, really long, wide mouth, right in there, from the middle of the eye to the middle eye. We're still looking at the same landmarks as we did when we were drawing realistic faces, right? It's still the same landmarks, still the same to get it accurate, which is pretty cool, actually, really cool. All right, let's draw the alien head. Alien head still has that, it's kind of like this one. It's still the same shape, but everything's lower. It's kind of like the baby shape, baby face. Where's the baby face? Is that a different one? I don't know. Let's do it. I got my circle in there. And then just bring it down, really almost pointy, really pointy, right there. Not that much. If you have a circle, circle's the same everywhere, same height, same width. There's our circle. Then I just added that little chin. Get my axis line to help you. And if we get that axis line right up here, that's like up the furthest part. This is probably the center of everything. So this is, I'm really analyzing this. See, this is the middle of that circle. This is the middle of this whole shape. And that's probably going to be the top of where my eyes are. And then the bottom of my eyes. Then the nose will be in there. The nose will be probably right there, right to that circle where I like to put my nose all the time. The bottom of that circle when I see that circle. And then right in there, there's the mouth. There's the mouth. Here's my eyes. There we go. Doctor my eyes. There we go. Oh, not too bad. And this is what you're looking for. This is what you're looking for. Then everything else is just the details and just the placement of everything, the structure. This is the structure. All right, let's go with the next one. It's kind of crazy 8. We've got this circle shape up here. And we've got another kind of like almost like a diamond shape at the bottom. A diamond shape at the bottom, but here's my axis line. Oh, coming out. Does kind of come to a bit of a point. It's like a peanut shape, peanut head. Oh my God. The guy drawing that thing too reminded me of oh, my cousin. We were kids, and he was younger than I was. So we went to go see E.T. back in 19 back in the 80s when E.T. came out, and we took him to see E.T. And it's a really pretty clean movie. You know, it is a pretty clean movie, but there's a scene where I don't know who it was. I think it was Elliot tells his brother, he says, "You got penis breath," and everybody's laughing. And then after the movie, he goes, my little cousin goes, "Oh, it was so funny when he said he had peanut breath, like peanuts." I like that. That's funny. Of course, you don't correct him.
That line was said by Drew Barrymore, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was Drew Barrymore. You're right. Yeah. All right, now here the nose overlaps the mouth. All right, so the eyes are up here. You can see the placement of the eyes, and then here the nose overlaps the mouth. So we can probably get the mouth in there first. The mouth is like right in the middle of that, the widest part. All right, and let's see. Let's put that in there, and let's put the mouth in. And just simple football shapes, really simple shapes. And these are the shapes I kind of see and put in, get that structure. And then there's overlap of the nose, overlap of that nose. There we go. And then the eyes. at an angle. Good stuff, good stuff. There. All right, let's go to the next one. Ooh, a really thin face, really thin. You can see the ratio really changes on this one. Ooh, we can see, okay, so this is what I mean by ratio. This really helps with the ratio. So here's a 1-to-1. I can see a square there, and that's where the eyes are. There's another one, then another one, and the nose is probably going to be two spaces long, and then we have another one, almost, I would probably say 4. And I would have to, well, and it does get wider as it gets down a little bit more. So you're getting this kind of shape here. It's kind of like a balloon shape. This or the animal balloons. And you can see the widest part where the cheeks are. And they come out like that. There we go. All right, let's put that axis line in there. Oops, let's bring it up and bring it back. There we go. There we go. There we go. That center line. And it's broken down into fourths. Up there, up there, up there. Probably, it's probably a little bit more than a fourth. Right about there, but that's good enough. I can see the eyes are going to be like right in here. The nose is going to come down to here, and then the mouth is kind of like off to the side. Yep, just like that. All right, so you can see that how I broke it down into fourths. It's good to see the ratios. That's the big ratio. It's like almost 4, probably a little bit more. The width 1-to-4. And depending on the width too, this is the widest part or the smallest part. All right, let's put the eyes in. There we go. Flat at the bottom, a little bit of an angle, then rounded at the top. Flat at the bottom, rounded at the top. Yeah, I had a whole set of Mad magazines. I still have them. They're buried underneath my parents' back house. I have to dig them up. And they're the black and white ones, because I was reading in this book too, it says mentions that how they went to all color in the 90s or sometime. Yeah, but I have the ones from the 80s. Speaking of, and here's the mouth. Man, look at that, the placement. See, look at how it all fits in there. Let's see how it all fits. Once I see these shapes, kind of the same height, same width, that squares, these squares, and that helps me with the spacing and the placement. All right, now this one is definitely a pear shape. So we got this this oval shape, that oval, and then you've got this pear shape. You'll see this a lot as well. And playing with these shapes and trying different shapes for different faces. It's just getting those things on there. All right, so we got that. Here we go. I like that. Eyes are way at the bottom here. That's where my eyes are, my nose, and the mouth, like way up here too as well. So probably make it a little bit wider. Yeah, this is really sketchy, which is fine. Because then what you want to do, here, let's do it here, is do it with a marker. Get markers and get really nice and really good. And he talks about the thickness and thinness of lines, line character. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Nice and clean. Nice and clean lines. And that's the ultimate goal that you're aiming for. And it takes time to get there. It really does. You're going to start off all sketchy like this, and then eventually really work on that quality. But capturing the structure, capturing everything else, that's first. The placement, then you can just get a marker and do these nice, clean drawings, clean caricatures like that. There we go. All right, let's do the red face, and we're done with this page. That's all 6 of them. The red face is kind of like a vase. It looks like a vase. Interesting. You got the top, which is you got that shape up there at the top, and then you've got these big cheeks. It kind of looks like a big Greek vase. And this really helps too, having that center line, because this drawing symmetrical shapes, this can be a challenge. It can be a challenge trying to get that shape on there, that shape on there. and then this coming out on both sides and making sure it goes out to the widest part, and then starts coming in. And this at the same angle to be symmetrical, same on both sides. That's a whole practice in itself. Drawing bottles, drawing. You'll see people have trouble with symmetry when they're learning. And then drawing this axis line just takes care of half of the problems. Oh, and then you don't have to draw it anymore. You can just kind of imagine it. Like, okay, boom, there it is. There's my axis line, and then just there it is. All right, so let's get all the face parts. Eyes are going to be right in there, right at the bottom of that part, and so is the nose will probably be there, and then the mouth will probably be just below, right in there, right there. So that's the placement of everything, the 5 parts. Here's the same eyes. Oh, start off with the nose right in the middle, and then squeeze the eyes in. So the nose right in there, triangle nose, then the eyes. There we go. Any requests? I don't know. I haven't seen the chat lately. All right. Looks like a cheating sumo wrestler from the 80s with the silicone forehead. What, the purple one? Yeah, I think so. Oh, I don't know which one. They do look like they have masks on. Mil máscaras. All right. He's got this football-shaped mouth. Let's do this. And then we'll put it to practice. Yeah. Those are really good. You've got some famous people on this right side now. All right, that's it. That's it. Those are the simple variations of the relationships between the 5 shapes on those shapes of the head. Share my screen again. Somebody put something in the chat and I just lost my chat. Oh no. Did they? Oh, the blue ones, sumos would try to get into a taller fighting class. Here it is, that one. All right, let's zoom in. Here we go. Oh, we did that thing with that one. There we go. This one, look at that. Married with children, you can definitely tell that's him. He's got that wide side face, big nose. Look at this face. Now this is a 3/4 view. That's even gets more challenging, but these are more straight on faces. We'll definitely try one of these. I'm gonna skip this one for now. Look at this one. Different relationship decisions can be applied to the same face. So you can see this one, weighing the options here. Different relationships can play in character differently. Let's see, just exaggerating different things. You see the overall pear shape or that shape. And then here they exaggerated a little bit more, pushed the cheeks out a little bit more, exaggerated the nose a little bit more. Man, these are all decisions, you know, you have to decide what to exaggerate. The wider nose. Yeah, capture that. Despite the different exaggeration choices, each drawing is recognizable as Wade, it says. Yeah. There he is, Wade. Really closed eyes, and that nose. All right, here we go. The different features, relationships applied. And I would strongly suggest going back in here and reading these. We're just really skimming through this. Really, it really is the practice. Look at this. The eyes and the face, everything's scrunched into here. I mean, if you were to get rid of, let me see if I can do this. If you were to get rid of the center part of the face, let's see. There we go. The center part, it's pretty close to, oh, it's not solid. Thought I chose my solid shape. Oh no, here it is. This is the one. There we go. Now it's solid. A solid square. Can I undo? Something happened there. There we go. Let's try one more time. There we go. Yeah, right in here. Cover that up. Yeah, so if I were to draw this, the face looks actually pretty good, but everything's scrunched in smaller. And you can see how, and the chin is exaggerated. But if I were to do this, let's do another color, all black. Yeah, the eyes would be right in there. the nose would be there, and the mouth would probably be down here. So it's almost pretty clear to like a real face, but everything's scrunched in. You can see how it's kind of like what they did there. All right, let's go to the next one. Let's clear that. Next one. There we go. Now this is awesome because we've talked about this, the proportions of the face, right? You're using the eye as a unit. The eye is a unit, and then seeing how it all fits in here. You can see even using the eye and how it fits around the chin. The nose is about an eye wide. Here it's about an eye space, and it looks like a weird alien. But these are some of the proportions you should be looking for in a regular face, right? And you can see this is the halfway point. This point right here is halfway, and then the different proportions right in there. All right, so let's see. If you haven't drawn one of those, you got to draw one of those. We have our picture drawing from Drawing Faces, and it should be on our website eventually. Actually, after the summer, I'm really hoping. I'm also full of hope. I got to plan and do. Here we go. So that triangle also helps. That triangle, getting the placement and spacing of everything. Seeing that. Exaggerating one relationship affects the relationship in the face. Yeah. So when you exaggerate one thing, it affects the other things. So you gotta, move stuff around. See the eyes. Action, reaction. These faces right in there. Look at that. Negative space. The negative space. Actually, that looks like a fun one to draw, just to draw for the fun of it. All right, let's see. Yeah, they're like, that's a great point. Yeah, they're like African masks. I see that. Yeah. There we go. I think we should do this one. Start off with this one. Recognize the T shape created by the nose. Yeah, let's go ahead and do this one. This is going to take a while, but we'll jump into it. Let's do it. So those of you, right, I was going to zoom in. Yeah, I can zoom in. Oh yeah, look at that. Zoom in. We'll do this one. I'll break it down, screenshot it. I'll also take requests. If you want to draw one that you saw. Hey, let's draw that one.
My request is for an easier one.
An easier one? All right. I'll try to simplify this. It looks like a lot, but it's not that bad. It's not that bad. I'll simplify it. All right, let's go. All right, so it's in the chat. Let's jump on it. All right, so it's pretty straightforward. Yeah, let's see. Make sure I get my whole screen in here. All right, so it's kind of like pretty much like a square. It's almost like Mr. Fredrickson from Up. So if you want to start off and drawing a square, there we go. Start off drawing a square. Let's draw a square, and it's a rounded top, so it has the same height, same width. So start off drawing a square. He's got a pretty much a square face. It does taper in a little bit, but for you to get to draw a square and get it to be the same height, there we go. Measure that, the same width. There we go. We got a square, and that's a good starting point because now we have our piece of clay. Now we can start shaving it. We can put round the top off a little bit. See, here's my rounded top from my square. And then I can also shave the sides a little bit. Shave the sides. We shave the sides in just slightly on both sides. There we go. Just slightly. See. Yeah, it looks difficult, but a lot of times if you have practice, you can see how we can simplify it. There we go. Simplify it. So we simplified it down to there. Let's get the eyes in. The eyes are going to be in here. I'm going to put two lines because this is the glasses. These are the glasses. The glasses probably almost, let me see, the middle, probably a little bit below the middle, but right about in there. The middle is where the eyes are going to be. But that's where my glasses kind of are. Let me put my axis line in there. He's got a grumpy face. Oh, speaking of grumpy faces, McLeod. There's another really good art book. This one, these drawings are here from McLeod, and these are different expressions. Definitely, eventually, we want to get there, and drawing different expressions, especially if you're doing caricatures. But these are the 6 main faces: anger, disgust, fear, joy, sadness, surprise. And he really talks about mixing these faces. Like if you mix concern with anxiety and fear, you get terror. Right? No, these are the different it's a gradients. All right. So it starts from satisfaction, amusement, joy to laughter. So it's like a keyboard going from one extreme to the other and everything in between. Then these are the ones where you add. So if you're adding fear and sadness, you get devastation. If you add fear and surprise, you get spooked, right? Am I there? Yeah, spooked. So yeah, this is a really good book. These are from that McLeod book. And I have that. So I'll get all these resources together eventually. And if you sign up on our website, you'll have access to them. But eventually. That's why we're taking a break this summer. We're just going to work on the website, work on stuff, putting all this stuff together for you. All right, here we go. Let's continue. All right. So I got my head. The neck comes in like a triangle right in here, a little triangle. Everything kind of comes down in a triangle shape right there. And then you've got more triangle shapes with the collar and all that stuff. I'm not going to worry about it. Let's get the nose shape. Excuse me. The nose shape in there, a diamond kind of shape. And this is just kind of blocking everything in. Again, you do need to do this at first when you're first drawing faces or drawing anything. You sketch everything in, practice your sketching and working, building things up. And then eventually you'll get everything in one shot, just like this, like the marker shot right there, that marker shot. But that's why you got to practice your sketching, practice your sketching. And it's okay if sometimes it's sketchy, you know, it's not a big deal, especially when you're learning. People want everything perfect all the time, you know. Yeah, it's a dance between perfection and what was that other word? I wrote it down in my notes. I came across it. When you don't care, when it's a complacency, you're complacent where it's okay. Complacency, yeah, it's a dance between perfection and complacency. Yeah, you can be complacent and say, that's good enough. That's good enough. Or you can say, oh, it's not good enough. It's a dance between there. So you got to find your right tuning. And I think I'm going to have to widen this space up a little bit or make the glasses smaller. But it's okay. I'll just make the glasses a little bit smaller so we don't have to make too many changes. I can make the glasses smaller. Make the glasses smaller. And that's the thing, you know, you're changing the proportions, the size, and that's great for a caricature because you're exaggerating anyways, right? You got to see, like here, I can already see like I would have to add more space, and then the ears, I'll do that way. That's fine. To those eyes right in there, the glasses. All right, let's do this. So I'll start off with the glasses because I always like starting off with the glasses. So let me zoom in and get those glasses in there. All right, so we've got the that little bar. Actually, let's do it with a marker. Let's do it with the marker. Let's do it professional. There's a marker. There you go. There's that center. Let's get the glasses in here. Really nice thickness to it. Let's get that thickness of these glasses. Really pretty rectangular. I'm trying to thicken it up. There we go. We got the nose that kind of sticks out over the glasses right in here, a little bit of a bump. And let's get those glasses in. Because that's solid. That's solid. That really doesn't change. If you can try to get that to be solid and symmetrical and the same on both sides. And then here, let's draw it in the eyes. There's going to be one eye in here. Oops. One eye on this side, and then the other eye kind of like right in the middle, right there. See, I just with a pencil, put that in there. And then you've got the nose and his angry little parts in there. The eyebrows coming up at an angle right in there. That hair, put that hair up on top. There's going to be hair up here. Oops, yeah, bring it down. The hair goes right on top of the head and off to the sides. We're going to have to add the ears on there too as well on the sides. The hair kind of really nicely flowing. And this actually widens it up a little bit more too, adding the ears. That here. And I think I made it wider on this. This whole, I think, should have been a little more to the right. That's okay. Yeah, it should have been. That's okay. All right, now he does talk about, he does go into the bones, which is really cool, and these cheekbones. So he's got some cheekbones in here in the book. Yeah, I went through the whole book. It's a really great book. It's an awesome book. Take your time with it. Really enjoy it. Read. Go at your own pace. You got to find your pace. I might be going fast. I might be going slow for you. The whole thing is to just try to find your pace. Take your time. Hurry up. All right, here we go. I pretty much have it all kind of sketched in where everything is kind of going to go. All right, so I'm going to focus on the eyes and then looking back and forth and making sure everything's kind of where I want it to be. It's more or less there. It's all just detail, these little wrinkles and everything. All right, here, let's just jump into the eyes. There we go, the eyes. All right, so this one you do see the actual eye, and it's going to be in that space. You do see the full pupil, like that rounded pupil right in there. And then a little bit of a highlight. So I'm going to try to keep that highlight by shading right in there. A little bit of a highlight. There it is. Kept it. And then you've got the eye lashes. And then that one just kind of sweeps over like that. And then the next one sweeps under and pulls up kind of like that. Right there. You can put some eyelashes on it, but I don't know, it is thicker on the top. The top eyelash is thicker. And you got little bags, just put little bags. Not putting them all. And he's got a couple like crows, 1, 2 little crows lines on the other side, and the eyelid. That eyelid, a little bit of an eyelid right in there. Boom, that's it. Those are all the parts for that eye. And then I'm going to shade in that inside of the eye. This inside part, I'm going to just go ahead and shade it all in and lose it all that. Boom. It all becomes part of the glasses. That's it for that eye. Let's go to the other eye. The other eye swoops up and then down, kind of like an upside down Nike. And it should probably be smaller because I'm missing the eyelid on top of that, little eyelid over that, squeezing it in, and then getting that shape of this eye right in there. Boom, so it's a really pointy triangle. And then I'm going to round it off and kind of try to get it to fit in there, that pupil in there. There it is, right in there. Kind of like that. Maybe a couple little eyelashes kind of missing. All right, 1, 2, 3, or 2. And then put the bags on this one, but I think I'm running out of space, but there's little bags. I put 2 little lines for my bags. And all this is just detail. That's what makes it look like, wow, like a lot, like it's really hard, but it's all just a little detail. Once you see the big shapes and you can go back and forth and zoom in, zoom out, those are okay. Try to make the eyes, those glasses a little bit closer together, I think. There's one more line on top of it, right in there. There we go. All right, eyes are coming along, coming along. All right, we're gonna do the eyebrows and that little angry. Where's your angry eyes? Angry eyes. We're gonna start off with the middle one. There is kind of like a middle frown line here, up here, that goes up in the middle. It's rounded and then it goes straight up. And then we have that's the first one. And you've got 2 on, 1 on each side. So you got one that kind of echoes that on that way, and the other one kind of echoes it in the other way, kind of mirrors it like that, boom, like that. And there you go. Those are the 3. Let's get the eyebrows in. Eyebrows in. Am I speaking German? Eyebrows. Sounds like a German word. Eyebrows in, eyebrows in. It sounds like one word. Let's get the eyebrows in. Eyebrows. There's one eyebrow from thick to thin. Then gets cut off, and then there's like little hairs up in here. You can continue it. 1, 2, like little hairs. It's almost like it's got a little space in there. Same thing on the other side. Going up, going from thick to thin. The bottom is thicker, then as it gets higher, that shape gets thinner. Right in there like that. Yeah, if you've got a marker, definitely markers really help for caricatures. That's definitely a tool you would need to get for doing caricatures. Tools. Yeah, but when you're first learning to draw, just anything works. Just anything. You don't want to practice. Don't let the tools hold you back. Don't play the blame game. Oh, I didn't have the right tools, or I didn't have the right. You just do. You just do. All right, there's our eyes. All right, let's get the nose. Let's get that nose in. All right, so I got the shape of the nose. There's the bump on the nose, and then there's this line here. It's just really, I'm going to put a little bit, that's really light. And then here on this side, it goes out and then in, and there's a little bottom, it goes flat at the bottom. And then it goes up and back. There's a nostril. Then on this side is another nostril. Right. Oops. Yeah, kind of like that. There's the nostrils. So you're kind of having this kind of like bulb shape. You want to try to keep that bulb shape in the middle. Then here, this kind of rounded shape in there. All right, now let's get the actual nostril holes, the nostril holes. What's really cool about this book is it has a lot of the names too. I mean, this is a really good book as a follow-up to our portraits, drawing portraits, because it has all the names of everything. It's really pretty cool. There's that nose. There's shading and stuff. I'm kind of skipping. I am simplifying it. There is a lot of shading and other stuff, which makes it look harder, but we're simplifying it. All right, let's get the mouth in now. We got the mouth in. Everything's going where kind of, let me zoom out so you can see how it's coming together. And then zoom back in. Zoom, 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 zoom. We're gonna zoom out, zoom out, zoom out. Zoom. Now the left side's a little bit bigger, and there's a slight angle to the mouth, really throwing the symmetry off. It's asymmetrical. So it's a little bit bigger on this side, and then it comes down and it comes smaller on the other side, but it's all in there. See that shape right in there. Let me zoom out a little bit so you can see it in context, how it fits in there, in that bottom half. That's the end. It probably, yeah, there's probably a little bit more of a dip in the middle, but that's all right. It's all good. It's all practice. And the more you practice. All right, there's a bottom lip. Get that bottom lip in there. And then there's that rounded part of that chin, also part of that. Put that in there as well. So you got one lip delineating the bottom of the chin, and then another line showing that chin, the bottom of the lip, and the other line showing the bottom of the top of the chin. A little bit of shading in between, kind of closing it up. Just do that. Just a little bit of shading in between. All right. You see, it's not too bad. Let's get these laugh lines, or these lines that are on the sides. It's really cool. It goes from thin to thick. Right in here, I want you to notice there's almost like a little bit of a bulb right in there. Same thing up here. There's this one on the right, probably a little bit higher. Then it swoops out, All right, so this line is affected by that kind of shape that's there. All right, so it starts up here. It swoops down, comes around that. It comes back down and then under that, like that. All right. And there's a little bit of thickness of line. The line does change the line quality. It thickens up a little bit. which is really cool. And really need to notice how some of the lines are thinner, some are thicker. The artist does that intentionally, so it's not flat. So getting some lines thinner, having that control. And here I'm starting to add all the little wrinkles underneath this chin. There we go. Really looks angry. It's got that mad look. All these little wrinkles there. This rounded part as it comes back up. It's right here. Jowl. I think it's a jowl. Comes back up and through here, right up to that cheekbone. Well, let's get that other side. See, that comes around here like that, that little, and then it curves up and over. Right in there. Yeah, all the shading, all the color, the lights coming from the left, all that stuff. There's a highlight on the nose. There's a lot of stuff to it. And there's a lot of icing on this cake, which is fun to do. Once you get there, you can start adding all the icing. A little bit of watercolor would be good. If this is a permanent marker, I can do watercolors right on top of this. Or once I get my iPad, I will be getting my iPad soon. It'll be my birthday present. I saw it for like 800, 900 bucks for the big one. I had the smaller one, but yeah, as we know, that one was, somebody needed it more than I did. So much so they broke my window. It's all good. All right, so here's that little bit of a line there, showing that form that's there, that form that actually goes up in there. But I'm just going to do that and then bring that down onto that line right down there. So that comes like that. Then a little bit of a going up to the cheek. There's a line in between as well, that cheekbone. There's that cheekbone right there. All right, let's get those glasses in. Again, mine's is a little bit wider here than in the picture, just slightly. That's okay. I know I did. I know I made that change. Accidental, intentional. No, it was accidental. I try to shoot for accuracy, but sometimes we don't hit it. That's okay. Especially when we're talking and explaining and singing and dancing. All right, let's see. This ear is really simple, but let's get this hair in first. There's this hair that kind of like swoops out like right in here. And then the ear, I didn't get it. Wanted to put the ear behind that hair sticking out. So the ear just comes in, swoops in, a little bit of a bump, and then the loop at the bottom, the loop right there. And I can shade the top, right in there, and then as I bring it down, I lighten it up, into a hatch marks. Bam. That's just hatching. That's the next step, learning how to hatch. And I think they talk about it too. See, there's a little bit of hatch marks right here. These hatch marks, 1, 2, 3, like that. There's little hatch marks. It's all just detail, just the detail. Notice thick to thin, really nice. Marker control. All right, we're almost there. Wow, look at that. The mouth is done. Halfway there, I think. Let's get this other side. I feel like pulling it out. I would, because I know I pulled this side's out a little bit. All right, so these glasses are coming back up in space. Back up in here. And there's a little bit of a space gap, a little bit of a gap, which I just lost. And that's okay. Let me try to get it in. See, there's that, and then a little bit of a gap. That gap should go all the way down, but it's all good. All right. And here's where the hair just sticks out. Such a character sticks out of that, or that the glasses go into that hair, and the hair just really curling up in here like that. All right, we got 2 new messages. I'm just noticing. Let's see. It's not quite straight on. Is the on the center line a little to the right? Yeah, it was. Leslie caught it. I thought it was a little to the left. No, you're right. It was a little more to the right. Yeah, I centered it. I centered it. Should have been, yeah, a little bit more to the right. Good eye, good eye. All right. That's it. Great discussion going on in the chat. Let's see. All right, Leslie, you'll be teaching the class next week while I'm out for summer vacation. All right, here we go. And we can fix it a little bit. See, like, you know, it should have been a little bit more to the right, but here we can actually add to the left if we really needed to. I can add, see, I can bring it over just slightly. Wherever you're at, that's where you are. Wherever you're at, that's where you are. Just appreciate and then try to, if you can, move over, move over. If not, it's okay. Just accept it and say, all right, next time. There's always a next time. There's always a next time when you're drawing. And it should be. Sometimes people give up. People stop. People quit. You can take a break. It's good to take a break. But sometimes, you know, they don't go back. People don't go back. All right, so here's my ear. My ear's going to go in here. Notice how it curves. Like I'm getting this, I'm feeling this shape, the way it swerves in and out. Boom. Get that in there. And oh yeah, and then there's this shape of this ear, the inner ear, going through it. Right in there like that. Kind of like that. All right, so let's do this. Got the outer ear. Oh, keep uncapping the back. There's the outer ear. Inner ear coming in like that to the out and then back in. And then here's the lobe. The lobe is two parts. There's a bump there and then the big bump of the lobe. Good old earlobe right there, that lobe. And there's the tragus. Jessica, where are you? All right, there we go. Tragus, and maybe, I don't know if those are hairs or wrinkles in the ear. It's all good. There. Yeah, this book has breaks down the ears and the noses and the parts, and actually it says all the ear parts, which is really cool. There's that. It does actually lighten up as it comes up. Lighten it up, and then back here, there's also this back part of that ear, right in there. Boom, that loop. All right, there's my ear. There's my ear. We're done with all the lower half of the face. Just need the neck and the shirt. But let's do the top. Let's go to the top. So we're going to go to the top. There's the bottom. Last chance at the bottom. We're going to the top. Do the best you can. Just take a deep breath when you're like, oh, I don't like it. A little bump in the road. Got to let those little bumps in the road kind of go. Sometimes we don't nail it. That's okay. Just kind of, it's all practice. It's all just practice. Really, it is just practice, practice, practice. Then you can come back and look at it and appreciate it like, oh, wow, it's not as bad as I thought, you know. It's sometimes, yeah, we can be too hard of a judge. Then you go through paralysis of analysis. All right, he's got a really nice at the top of his head that and it's like a couple of parts. Let me show you the parts. So there's almost like the ribbons we were drawing. So it kind of swoops, like here's the swoop of that hair, swoops down, and it's like a roller coaster ride or those little slides. It's got a little bump there. See, like that's that shape or the flow of that line of that hair right there. This one right in there. That's the point. Comes down. Let's add a thickness to it. This is the other side. Comes up and over, and straight, and then here's that bump. My little echo. It's the echo of this. This comes in, goes over, goes over. Kind of echoes, kind of like a ribbon. Like a ribbon. There it is. That's it. There's the hair. You got a lot of other stuff going on with the hair. And this book does a great job at talking about hair and the different parts. And see, I just did that really quick without talking about it. If you notice, let me zoom in. Just that little shadow or that part underneath that little rim. And I'm just doing it. eventually you get to that point where you just do it. You don't think about it. You just do it. You see it and do it. But that it takes a while to get there. Becomes automatic. So, all right, little hairs on this side. Bam. And little hairs on the top. All this little detail, all the baby shapes. See, you got the mama shapes, baby shapes, the papa shapes. All the baby shapes going in there now. Fit it all in there. Fit them. His hair. And then actually there's several parts. I'm just throwing it in there, so do the best you can. This is a little more than we're going to get into. He does totally go into hair. Does a great job of it on chapter page, and I don't have the page number, but he does talk about it. All right, so there's the hair on the left. So the hair on the right, and then we'll zoom in. You do see his, yeah, because it's slightly looking to the left this way. So you see a little bit more of here of his skull here, and that right in there. Then the hair coming out of this side, because that part would be like in here on this side. You can see this ear is a little bit smaller. This ear is a little bit smaller than this one. So there's a slight, it's not a 3/4 view, but he is slightly looking to the left. All right, let's get that hair in there. Finish this hair right in here. Let's see. There's a little bit of a tuft right in here. Tuft, get that tuft. Then it goes back over and then just back in there like that. Yeah. You can look at my drawing and then the original too as well. I'm not copying it line for line. I'm just getting the major shapes and kind of just faking it. You see, I'm adding all these little hairlines that are right there. Just there we go. Let me zoom out. Bam, bam. Henry. Oh, Henry. Henry. He even used his real name. All right, so there's still a little bit on this side. I guess there's an indentation of where the cheekbone is, and this little laugh line, it kind of goes in here. You do see this a bit. And there, it's in there. And then maybe even a shadow, and these are just little hatch lines. Kind of looks like detail. These are all the baby shapes, all the icing on the cake. But you got to learn to see it without the icing. That's why you see the icing and it looks so, oh my God, it looks so hard. It looks so hard, but it's just a lot of icing. It's a lot of icing. It almost looks like Colonel Sanders a little bit. All right, here we go. Let's do the neck and the tie, and we're done. Let's do this. Go on to the next one. All right, he's got a lot of wobble, a lot of waddle, wobble. So I see one in here. Okay, another one there, then another one. This is the main one, these two, that one, and then the other one on this side up to there. And then the, you've got that, a little bit more on the left because he is facing to the left, a little more on, I guess, our left. He's facing his left. All right. So we've got this part comes down, and then the collar, that shirt underneath, and then up and back. So a little bit of a complex shape. See this collar, and then down to the shirt, and then up, and it actually it comes down to a triangle like that. It comes down to a triangle actually. That's the shirt. This is the shirt. Color it in. Yeah. And then let's get that collar. Collar comes up here, right behind the ear, right there. It comes down, swoops down, comes back up. Big old triangle collar. And he's got that little part to that collar that kind of comes down here. little bit of a wrinkle over here on the side of the collar, a little bit of a wrinkle. This wrinkle right in there, part of the, it's like a coil, it's a coil fold, and then it goes out. Just a little small little wrinkle there. All right, left side done. Right side. All right, right side is a little bit different. All right, the right side, it's this part comes up. It's a little more prominent. I'm gonna bring it back, and then the collar is thinner because of the way I guess it's facing us. It's gonna be thinner. It's gonna come up and right up in there, just like that. Bam. There's the collar. Let's get that shoulder up here. Comes from right here, from that jowl, kind of comes down and then out. And I can shade this. He's got stripes. There's stripes on this, but I definitely would want to shade this. I can shade this with his marker really lightly. Practice your tools. Let me see, where am I? Okay, there we go. Get some hatching. There we go. Look at that. Some hatching really quick. Give it a little bit of, there we go, contrast. And my hatching, because it is colored brown. Just hatching it. All in one kind of direction. Good practice. Hatch. And if I wanted to, which I do, I'm going to put some more hatch marks in here, like a shadow for the collar on this side as well, a little bit. I usually get this occlusion. It's called occlusion, where the light is occluded. You can actually add stripes on it as well in a different direction. All this is just detail. All this detail can go on after or just practice. There we go. See all that? Bam. Ooh, and just the wrinkles on his forehead, and we're done. Let me zoom out. Give it a little bit of a break. Give you a little bit of a break. Take any questions, or if you want to repeat anything, or draw the nose over, the eyes over, or we can jump to the next drawing. Jump to the rhythm. All right, just the little wrinkles on the forehead. Yeah, but this is really colored nicely. I would shade it with pencil, or go back with colored pencils, just for the fun of it. All right, let's get that. Just some forehead lines. He's got like four of them in here, and they kind of just swoop around, really thin. There's 1, 2. See the thickness of the line. I'm going thinner. See this line up here where the hair is thicker. I pushed a little bit harder. This one, I'm just going really as light as I can. And the lines actually even get lost really light on some of the ones on his forehead. I mean, they get so light, they just kind of like almost even, let me see if I can get it to get, you see, I'm lifting my marker up a little bit. Yeah. Then the last one, that's 3, and here's 4. Maybe too much. Yeah, that's all good. I try to keep it as light as I could. Reminds me of Ed Asner. I don't know who it is. It reminds me of several people. Well, it probably says it right there. No, it doesn't. He does mention names through all the whole book. It's just a person. All right, there we go. Let's zoom out a little bit and give yourself a pat on the back. Yay, celebrate. You did it. All right. Let's go to the next one. All right, so recognizing the T shape created by the eyes and the nose, that T shape, it's tea time. The relationship with the eyes and the nose creates a basic capital T shape that encompasses both elements. By thinking of the eyes and the nose as a simple geometric shape, exaggeration can be applied much more easily. So let's jump over to that page. Share my screen, sharing is caring. And here we are. The T-shape theory. So that's the T-shape. You can see it here. See that T-shape where the eyes, the nose, see that as a T. And that helps simplifies it, right? And when you're looking at how people exaggerate, you can see that simplification, that T shape, the eyes and the nose has a T shape. Various T shapes in action. There we go. Various T shapes in action. Notice the angles, the shapes. That's really cool. We should draw some of these. If you have some time, practice, practice, practice. The more you practice. And we're just slightly practicing. We're really just touching the surface. Here's the relationship between the eyes and the nose in action. Here, the relationship. That spacing, the relationship. You can, the spacing a part of the eyes, the spacing, the thing that really doesn't change is the nose. All of it is just placement. The only thing that's changing is the placement, right? All the things are exactly the same. It's just the placement. But what changes is that kind of like the T shape, if you're looking at the T shape, if you can see and imagine the T shape on top of these eyes and those relationships, it's actually pretty cool. The nose, mouth, and chin dynamic. And there's another dynamic, the nose, mouth, and chin dynamic. Here we go. You see here, the mouth gets closer to the nose, and then the chin stretches out. It exaggerates it even more. Because you got to, if you just exaggerate down here, it's too much. The mouth actually has to go up closer as well. There's chin up. Yeah, moving the mouth closer to the nose causes the chin to move farther, even further away. Moving the mouth farther from the nose, and will make the chin move closer in. Yeah. There we go. Look at that. These are so cool. Some examples of the T shape within the head. You can see the T shape, that T shape. Tom Cruise. Head shapes, the alpha shape. Ah, look at that. He's like in his 90s. Look at these. These are so much fun. I mean, oh my gosh, the shapes and the forms. It's really fun stuff to draw. William Shatner. And he just shat himself. There we go. There's got a normal face, seeing the head shape caricature. Totally the chin and the butt chin. The cheeks, the jaws, head exaggeration. Here's the head exaggerating caricature. So exaggerating the head shape creates powerful caricatures. So depends on what you care. Oh, somebody mentioned that, and I kind of noticed it too. Oh, I don't know where that is now. My maybe it's under here. I'm not gonna worry about it. The hair for my Frida, and as I watched the video, I was like, yeah, the forehead was a bit much, but it's all good. So here we have half. We've been talking about this. This is the regular proportions of a normal face, half full or half empty. So a caricaturist uses the traditional rules of classic portraiture. There they are. These are the rules. And then they break those rules. See, like here, the eyes are lower than that half here. They're higher, keeping it simple. Look at the shapes. Simplifying the shapes. Look at these shapes. See? Squint your eyes. That's a good way of seeing it. Just try to see the shape. Yeah, and then just fitting everything in. Just like the shapes. Look at, there's that peanut shape, the different shapes we drew. But now here, this is all the detail. This is all the detail, more stuff. We can draw one of these. These are pretty cool. Pretty neat. Yeah, if you're having trouble, tracing is good. I just saw tracing, and they're so much cheaper now. Now that they're LED, the prices actually have dropped. Instead of having a light table, they have these LED light tables. And I bought one, a small one. I have a small one that actually connects to it's a USB port. Look for points of reference. There we go. Wide. See the width. That's what I've talked about. Yeah, the width. Where's the widest part? These are good reference points. See those points right there. Where's the widest part? The eye line, the center axis. Look at this. Stuff I've been talking about for years. If you look back at my other videos, it's all the same. It's all the same stuff. Exaggerating the head shape imbalance. Half, 1/5, 4/5, 1/4, 3/4. Fractions. Look at that. That's so cool. Look at all these cheeks, all this stuff. Yeah, so as you exaggerate one space, you shrink another, squash and stretch. That's so cool. Yeah, look at that, pear shape, peanut shape. Play with shape association. This helps you remember. I mentioned it. I totally forgot. I actually might have skipped this page. But yeah, you can see that. Look at even block shapes. Look at that. Toaster, pizza face, brick. The human skull. This is really good. And it has all the shape names, the glabella, the frontal eminence. This would be good just to draw on its own. The maxilla, the lower dental arch, the angle of the mandibula, mental protuberance, upper dental arch. Look at that. That's awesome. Let me zoom out, give it for a second. So if you're watching the video, you can, there it is. Doesn't stay. Let me see. Yeah. Oh, we full screen. Yeah, we are full screen. I think so. Oh yeah, it was full screen. Oh, there you go. Oh, you can draw it, freeze it. There's the skull. Muscles of the face. There's another one. We've talked about this, and here it is, and the names, all the different parts. It's good to practice drawing these as well. You got to draw these as well. Cranial mass, the face, and the face shield, just like the Loomis head. See, there's the circle and then the shield.
Excuse me,
Yes.
could the person without his skin there, the muscles,
Yeah.
what was it you were telling us we need to draw?
Just practice drawing everything. I mean, just copying this. This would be good. I did this.
So really,
Hmm?
oh, I'm sorry. I mean, draw his muscles just without his skin on?
Yeah, should we do that? We can do this one. So you can see what we're talking about.
But you're saying that's a good thing to do.
Yeah. Yeah. The more you practice drawing, yeah, because then you kind of see the muscles, the structure underneath. Right. So let's just do it just for the fun of it. All right.
Okay,
All right.
thank you for explaining that to me.
Oh, yeah, you're welcome.
I rarely see people without their skin on.
Yeah, we don't.
Thank goodness.
I know, huh? We don't see houses with the framework, but it's what holds the houses up, all the studs inside, all the parts. All right, so let's do this one. All right, let me break this one apart. This one's actually a real head, pretty close. It's a little bit thinner, but as far as proportions, and some of the exaggerations. Where's my tools? Let me move my chat stuff. Thank you for chiming in. Definitely. If there's any questions, that's what it's about. Asking questions, being curious. How does this work? What does it look like? I mean, Jesus, it was Leonardo da Vinci 500 and something years ago had to do this. Yeah, he did this. Cadavers, he would take them apart and look at the muscles and do all this stuff. To animals too, horses. And he's got a lot of drawings of that. All right, so here we go. Let's see. We got the circle kind of. Oh, my keyboard's not working. Yeah, it's not working. Yeah. Hold on 1 second. Giving me trouble. I'll plug it in. There it is. That should be it. Nope, didn't like that. All right. Well, my keyboard's not working. Yeah, keyboard's just lost it. Yeah, it sees it, but it's not picking it up. Try a different one, different port. There it goes. Now it's working. All right, so there's my circle. Now, usually I see this right to the bottom of the nose, kind of like the Loomis head. And that kind of helps. See that circle right in there. Boom. That goes there. See the eyes.
What?
Does anybody else see him
Nope.
drawing?
Nope.
Not me drawing yet. I'm just
Okay.
yeah. Here, let me try a different color. Let's try a different color. Let's not red. Let's go with green.
Well, I didn't see you doing anything.
Oh, you're drawing straight on the face.
Yeah, I'm drawing straight on the face. Yeah, and these angles here, this angle here, this angle there, this angle there. This is really good to see. I mean, there's so much stuff. A little bit of a cheekbone in here. You can see that cheekbone in there. And then the muscles are going over that cheekbone. That's what's happening there.
I'm still not seeing anything.
Still not seeing anything? Huh.
No.
Wow.
But
You
I
see,
I see the picture, but
you don't see my green lines?
no.
Oh, really? Wow. Okay. Well, you'll see them in the chat when I copy paste this thing in the chat. Yeah.
Okay.
All right. Hopefully. All right. Let's just go ahead and do it. Let's just do it. Just do it. I watched that Nike Air Jordan movie. It was good. Just do it. All right. And stuff in the chat. Thanks for another great session. Gotta go. All right. With the tech. Good luck with the tech. Thanks. All right. No, it's working. Let me see. Let's put it in the chat and get it going. There we go. There you go. Capture. That's weird that you don't see it. There it is. It's in the chat. All right, let's jump. Let's just draw it. Let's just do this. All right, here we go. There it is. So I'm going to start off with my circle. Ooh, markers. Marker bleeds. If it bleeds, it leads. So they say in the newspaper business. I don't think I even highlighted myself. Let me highlight myself. Right. Spotlight. There we go. Spotlight. Here we go. All right, here we go. Our circle. Start off with that circle. That's the universal shape. You should be able to same height, same width. From there, we got our angles. These are the green shapes I kind of drew. This angle for that shape. And then you got this angle of the jaw. And then the chin. All right, so we're going to continue with this book. I don't know what page we're on. 6:30. We'll go for another half an hour. We'll have to get at least one more drawing right now. I'll take any requests as we go through it. Great book. Got to study it. Got to read it. Giving you kind of highlights, synopsis. All right, there we go. There's the shape of our head. The nose is going to be right in here. My nose is going to be right on that line. I already kind of did a little oval shape, how it's going to fit there. And then the eyes are in the middle of the face, right the middle. So this is the top, this is the bottom. Kind of try to see, it's easier if you actually did this, did a line up there, did a line up there. Don't let all these lines confuse you, and just try to eyeball the center. The eyeball, the center, that's where the eyeball, the eyes would go. So if you look at this line here, this line on the side, find the center, and then bring that line over, that mark over, and that's about the middle. You got one set of eyes here and one set of eyes there with an eye space. The easiest way I always do it is just break that in half, our axis line, and then finding the halfway point on that side. So on this line, finding the halfway point there, and that's where the center of that eye is. And then on this side, halfway point there, that's where that is. And then finding the center of that again. So we're breaking that into fourths, the center of that. So from here to here, find the middle there on both sides. And then the eye fits, the actual center of the eye fits in there, and the muscle goes around it. The eye goes in there, maybe over a little bit. All right. So there's the nose, there's the mouth, up, it's going to be right about in here. It should kind of line up with the center of the eyes. Just basic proportions. We've talked about this. There's a lot of videos. It's right there. If you haven't studied the proportions of a face, you got to do that. You got to study those proportions. That really helps. And practice, practice, practice. The top of the eyebrow, the top of the brow. That's where the ear is going to be. The bottom of the nose. That's where that ear is. And this changes it as the face moves. All these parts, all these landmarks will change. Your ears will get higher or lower. If the face is looking down, the ears will go up. It's really interesting. But you have these landmarks at the bottom of the nose to see those landmarks. There's the ears, and that's it. That's where everything kind of goes. All right, let's get all these muscles in. All right, here we go. Starting off with the procerus muscle. That's the muscle in here that makes the The one we just drew on that madman's face. Procerus, and that wrinkles up. And those muscles go all the way up over your head at an angle. There's here's the on the side, the temple Grandin. And his head exaggerates the bony part of it. So I'm going to push that bony part up a little bit. And it does kind of bring it more to a point. But we start off with a circle. Just bring it up a little bit more point to the top, just slightly. It doesn't matter. And you can just see just how little, just pushing things just slightly a little bit makes big changes. Let's get those. And then he's got a V. I don't know why he's got a Band-Aid on his head for it. That's funny. Band-Aid. But I'm putting the Band-Aid in. An oval shape. And I think that, I don't know, little circles. You don't have to do the Band-Aid. I'm just having fun with it. But yeah, the wrinkles here of the procerus in here, right out where the nostril, the nose is, not nostril. The nose goes out. Out like that. Yeah, all the muscles are all these little lines, all the fibers. There we go. Going up and over. I mean, we look at faces, and that's what the book says. I mean, that's why we look at faces since we're young. Look at our parents' face. We look at all their faces. So we get really familiar with faces. So definitely something. If it's off, we kind of know it, but we don't always know what's off about it. All right, so I've got what I always draw, and I always try to see is the glasses part of the eyes, and then put everything else inside of it. All right. Let's get these eyes in. Let's get these eyes in. All right, so the eyelid kind of swoops up and then down. I kind of think of it as a roller coaster. It's a little bit long on this side, and then a steep fall on the right, kind of like that. Then it goes out to the little aqueous. Again, this is just a really quick, I mean, you have to draw eyes. You have to study them. It takes a while. All the parts. I'm just doing a quick overview. This is just practice. And then the circle part, the pupil, how it goes under the eyelid. And there's the eyelid up in here, even muscular, the muscle part of the eyelid. Right in there. Let's get that highlight because it's shiny. Let's shade it in, the back part. Right, as I go down. There's one eye. Oh, I don't know. Can we see? Oh, there we go. Should we zoom? All right, we're down to 6. There it is. That's better. Maybe a little bit more. So you can see what I'm doing. All right, let's do this other eye. Again, this side, it's a little bit steeper. We're going opposite on the. Actually, this is more like a roller coaster, I would say. So sometimes you're like going up, and then it's a long dive down. Actually, you can probably go either way. No, it's usually the first. Yeah, the first one is a lot steeper when you're going up, and then it's like ah. Put the eye in here. Well. Again, the pupil goes underneath that top eyelid. If it was a circle, it would continue over like that. Highlight, get all the shading in the back. I'm just using not even a number 2 pencil. It's a Dixon Oreo. Yeah, don't play the blame game. Your tools. Sometimes, yeah, your tools can. You gotta get to know your tools. And there we go. All right, there's the other eye. The eyelid is dark. I'm gonna shade that up And let's get those muscles in there. So the next is the orbicularis oculi, orbicularis, and that's that eye shape, the muscles kind of going around. Let's just go all the way around like a racetrack. Going around that, around the eye racetrack. And I'm sure these muscles too, the eyelid muscles have names as well. Get this eyelid on this side. Actually, the eyelid kind of on this side is lost a little bit within that muscle. Could be part of that orbicularis oculi, but I'm sure even the plastic surgeons and doctors really even know all these muscle names and parts. That could have been a surgeon. There we go. There it is. There's the eyes. All right, so let's go to the nasalis. The nasalis. The nasalis goes around the nose. These lines going forward, but there's a whole nasalis muscle. But I don't know if it wrinkles too much. I can make my nose. Yeah, I get these wrinkles up in here when I wrinkle my nose. And you have the nostril in here, doing the outside part of the nostrils, then the inside part. And notice there's a thickness, and then it comes down to a point. They're like a seed. It looks more like a, yeah, like a seed, or like a, what is that? A drop of water. A drop of water. But here we've got the nose, this part, making that rounded. One a little lighter with it. All right, let's get the mouth in. Let's just put the lips in, and then we'll put the orbicularis oris. Orbicularis oris around here. You can see the muscles there. All right, so let's get that, the center part of the mouth, which is what I usually do. Down here, it's that center part of the mouth. Out to there. Oops, let's bring it up. So the center part of the mouth extends out to the center of the eye. Bring it out a little bit. Let's see in chat. Thanks so much for the demo and the information about the book. Good night. All right, good night, Pearl. Drawing these muscles. All right, we're gonna get to one more drawing at least. Here's that top lip. I kind of simplified it. Close the mouth, no teeth. And then the bottom lip, a little bit wider, a little bit thicker. There we go. Yeah, these muscles go around like this. It's kind of looking like Captain America to me a little bit. There's a little bit of an indent right in here, a little bit of an indent as it comes up and around. What helps is these are almost like cross sections. So if you're looking like, oh, where's our shapes? I just saw it right now too. Where's our shapes? Is it here? The drawings that we did on Thursday's class, May. Oh, there it is. Cross sections. See how these cross sections? The cross sections of these shapes. Same thing here. There's like cross sections. All the muscles are kind of like cross sections or shapes. There's this bottom part. I don't even know if it's, no, it doesn't say a name for this one. This part right in here. Muscles coming down and around, wrapping. They wrap around there. Then you got the depressor labii inferiors that go down in here. And then this muscle here, the depressor angulus oris, coming up in there. It almost looks like a W. If you see this W right in here, see this W from there to here, up to there, down here, up there, like that. Oops, a W. All right. There we go. Yeah, so just practice drawing stuff. Muscles, this is important. The structure underneath. Yeah, you don't see this every day. Muscles, muscle shoals. It's a good story about that. Muscle Shoals has the Swampers. How about you? Sweet Home, Alabama. Okay, so you got these muscles coming up around the cheekbones. Does it have? Yeah, they're called the zygomaticus muscles. Zygomaticus muscles going around, like right here, this shape. Here it goes around the cheekbone, then opens up, pulling your face so you can make all kinds of expressions: anger, disgust, joy, fear, sadness, surprise. The muscles doing that, the muscles pulling the face to do that. All right, let's finish this up. All right, here we go. Depressor, masseter. I could be mispronouncing these. Masseter. There we go. I'm just getting the direction of the lines, the flow of the line, and just filling it in. Because we got the big shape, and then all these lines, see the lines, the direction of these lines, the way they can just go, just fill it in. See the big shape and then just fill it in. See the big shape and then just fill it in. The mentalis in here, it's like another little underneath there, and also kind of has little lines coming in this way. Fill it in. There we go. All right, let's get the ears. Really no muscles in the ears, although I can move mine. Just get those ears in here. Bump. The inside of the ear sticks out. Then we've got the earlobe. But I don't know. Tragus. And all kinds of stuff. Let's do the other ear. I'm just scribbling it in. Let's get to a good drawing. I want to do one. Let's see. We'll just flip through some pages, see which one we like. Did some good practicing here. Let's get that earlobe. There we go. Tragus, a little bit of a shadow shading, scribbling. There we go. I can keep putting some lines in there, and that's good. Just to get the flow of these lines, the way they kind of go in here, I can keep putting lines over it. It's kind of like just putting those muscles in, each fiber in the direction it's going in. It's good exercise, good to get the feel of that face, all these muscles, line drawings on the forehead, just doing that. All right, zoom out. Zoom. All right, so you should have something like that. If you don't, that's okay. But you saw how we broke it down. You can rewind it, watch the video. All right, let's do this. Let's go next. Let's continue. All right, here we go. All right, so here you can see the cranial mass moved up in the face down here, the muscles and stuff. We showed that as we were going around the 6 basic skeletal elements of the head, the brow, cheekbones, the nose. These are the elements, skeletal elements. Cranium, eye mask, the sockets, the nose, cheekbones, jaw. It's good to see these faces. Look at that, these abstracts. These would be good to draw as well on your own, because you're just drawing the shapes. This stuff right here. This is what the structure is. Don't get lost in the detail. Exaggerating visual weight. Squash and stretch. Squash and stretch. Yeah, see, so this is what actually I wouldn't do. I would just do the exaggeration, the stretch in one direction, but I wouldn't do the squash. I wouldn't do the squash. Just like that, that face is up here was really enlightening. That chin that we saw back up in here was really, really kind of like, oh yeah, you got to squash and stretch, not just stretch. Where's that chin at? I think we missed it. That chin. You'll see it. It's the one with the lines on it. He talks about stretching it. That was really insightful. Yeah, this one right here. So it's not just stretching the chin, but it's actually, you see it's moved up. The mouth is actually even moved up, actually, which exaggerates the chin even more without having to pull it out as much. Right, so that's awesome. All right, it's not just stretching, it's also squashing. All right, so there we go. This is where we left off. Good book. See the weight. It's like a balloon. That air has to squeeze out. See, squash, and then it stretches out on the sides. Squash in the middle, it stretches out up there. Really cool. Look at that. Redistributing constant mass. Look at that. That's cool. So you take it off from the top, put it down below. Robbing Peter to pay Paul. Good stuff. Oh man, these are really, look at this, the shading on this thing, the math, the understanding of solid math. This is really solid drawing. I mean, once you get here and really understand form, this is like the next level. You're going to be probably struggling with shapes for a while, but then if you can see the mass like this and the shading and the form and the way the light hits the actual object, this is totally next level. Next level. There we go. Yeah, this is just stretching it. The rubber concept, stretching the tree. Constant lines of force. Those are cool. Yeah. Drawing and charactering the features. Oh, that was a cool face. So here we go. We're going to look at some of these. There we go. The Daily Show, Jon Stewart. He's not on there anymore. And even the guy who took over is not on there anymore. He's leaving both really funny, insightful guys. He's still out. Jon Stewart's still doing stuff. That's really cool. I love these caricatures. So he captures their faces and exaggerates just the right amount. Einstein, Biggie. Is that Biggie? Rapper, Jay-Z. Oh, it's Jay-Z. Jay-Z. The eyes, Lucy. Look at these faces. Tom Green. Basic eye anatomy. See, this is all the stuff you need to know and study. Gotta study. Look at even the names. The caruncula, that little red semi-lunar fold. The semi-lunar fold, like a little semi-lunar fold.
Go, Elio.
All right, Josh. Thanks for joining us. Parts, the eyeball, the cornea protrudes. You got to draw these if you've never drawn these. This is really nice and clean and clear to understand the way it works. Then once you kind of understand this stuff, then you can actually get rid of your understanding. You don't have to be as accurate. Under the eyes, looking good. Yeah, don't draw. Yeah, what not to do. Definitely not a football shape. Look at those upper lid peaks. Look at there's that peaks. There's that roller coaster ride. The bottom mostly just swoops. Pulls out a little bit more to the left. We got to see where it pulls out. Does the eye shape lay above the line, below the line, equal? What's the angle? Horizontal. Here, upward, downward. Yeah, see. And these are good points to watch when drawing the eye. Is it on the line? Usually one side's higher. It's more like this eye here. This was definitely exaggerated. Looking for reference points. Good stuff. Drawing eyes. More eyes. Okay. Exaggeration. Here we have pushed the eye shapes, making them closer and more squinty, even more squinty. He's already squinty, but exaggerated, even more squinty. That's cool. Even more squinty there. Pushed it even further, the nose as well. Exaggerating the eye shape and the influence of style. Yeah. All right, just a bunch of eyes, eyes, eyes. Now here we can draw one of these. I don't know if anybody's seen anything. I don't know. I don't see anything in the chat. Any requests? Our last drawing we're going to draw tonight. Prince Charles. Basic anatomy of the nose. There we go. Look at that. This is really good. If you haven't drawn this, you gotta draw this. The apex, the septum, the nostril, the ala, the wings. I always call it the parenthesis, but it's the ala, alar furrow, lateral surface. The nose, the way it protrudes. Look at that. Simplifying the shape of the nose. Exaggerating. Look at that. It's so cool. Bringing the chin out even more. That's so cool. Effects of the angle of the head on the nose, backward tilt, looking down. It's the same face, but it, three-quarter. There's a three-quarter view. Sticking out. Mouth, nose. All right, let's find one. These are just different shapes, different examples. You got to practice drawing all of these, really. If you're really, really serious. Practice drawing, because you'll run across them. You're like, oh, it's like this nose. Oh, it's like that nose. But if you've never drawn them, it makes it harder. Like, oh, I can exaggerate this. I can, Well, when you're first learning, you're first doing it, it's all new and it's all kind of tough and you go slow. That's okay. But then you just practice and keep going. And you can exaggerate like this. Why the long face? Look at that one. This guy looks familiar. It's like an actor or something. The rule breaker. Short, squat, head shape. Short, wide nose. Exaggerating nose relationships. All right. Let's see. I like that one. Oh, yeah. Two of my favorite singers. They're actually guitar players. Both of them. He sings, though. Man, he's part of a three-man band, Geddy Lee from Rush. Now it's just a two-man band that the drummer passed away. Look at his hands right here. He's like, Eddie. And he passed away too. The mouth. He talks about teeth, which is really neat. Yeah. And that wrapper. Skeletal mouth. 6 main teeth. The canine, the lateral incisors, and the big ones, the medial incisors. Those big teeth. And then I really liked where he says right here, you don't have to always draw all the lines. Like in here for the teeth. All right. Let's see which one. Yeah, see, there's a lot of detail in the teeth. Don't get caught up in that. So forget about those details. You simplify it. Simplify those shapes. Simplify the shapes. And see the lines, the teeth. Exaggerate. Oh, and the way it turns around here. See, it turns around. It's not flat. It's not flat. I'm connecting. A lot of great tips on the lips and the teeth. Be careful. Stuff to look out for. Distance. Yeah. All right. So look at it. And it'll be in the comments. Freddie Mercury. Broke her face. There's another one of David Letterman. Sharon. The lower face. All right. Different shapes. Let's just do one. Should we just do this guy? I don't know who that is. Let's just do, the heavy face. It's best to kind of draw this one, the waddle, different chins. Mass. Which one should we? All righty, let's do that one. One of these two. I like this Clint Eastwood. Let's do Clint. All right, we're gonna do Clint and call it a night. Let's do Clint. All right, let's break it down. Break Clint Eastwood down. The mayor of Carmel. All right, let's find our circle. Took us a while to get to him. Definitely got to read the book. See the book, read it. All right, so there you can see the cheekbones, that circle part of the head. Focus on that. It's really just a circle, and then just that chin. It's almost like a key, skeleton key. I don't know what that is. But there's a circle shape. The eyes are right in the middle of that circle. Let's draw that middle line right there, a little bit above it. Slight angle. Here's the center, off center. Notice these things, the mouth where it's at. He does mention not making the neck parallel, but even though it's here, this just goes with it. The jaw. And there we go. And the hat, you can see it's a little bit wider than a square. It's a little bit wider than a square, but we're going to start off with that circle. But let me just draw that square in there. Let's see where that square is on top of there. Yeah, you see it's a little bit wider than a square. All right, let's do it. Let's dig into this one. Let's dig in, dig in. Well, do you? Where's my chat? Oh, it's over here. It's not sticking out. There we go. There we go. Now I can capture the flag. It does talk about drawing women as well. And let's go. Let's do this. All right, here we go. Last drawing of the night. Clint Eastwood cartoon. Starting off with our circle. Circle, circle, circle. Make sure you got a lot of space for that chin. We got a long chin. All right, I'm gonna start off with my scribble circle. There it is. And the chin is probably as bit long as that circle shape. I didn't check that shape, but here's my cross lines, my center, everything's to the right of this too. But I'm gonna just lay down my axis lines. There's my axis lines, and then I'm taking measurement of the circle of the head and the chin. It's a little bit longer. So the space from here to here, so we measure that, bring that down, pencil without eraser, and mark it down here. And it's a little bit longer than that, a little bit longer. So that chin is a little bit longer than from here to here. Let's zoom out. Now we've got that. So we got here. Let's measure it again. The top of my circle to the bottom of my circle. Bring that down right here. And then it's a little bit longer, slightly longer than that spot. And that's where the, let's bring it in. And then just two parallel lines right in here. Right in here, we're just slowly bringing it in just a little bit. And then just bringing it down there and bringing it down. Actually, that angle of that jaw. So yeah, that's the shape of the head. That's really close to the shape. He's got hair, it kind of comes over here. But that's the shape of his head. And then he still has the neck, a little bit of a neck. The neck is really close to a square shape, or the same height, same width. So that width, you could give it that same height, same width in there. Right in there. And then where they cut off right here a little bit. That's why it doesn't really, don't let that confuse you. Then I can put in his collar. He's got a collar with a, I don't know, that handkerchief or whatever, kind of sticking out right in there. All right, I'm pretty happy with that. Let's see, let's put in some more structural stuff. The nose is going to be right at that bottom of that circle. Then the mouth is going to be a little bit below that, right in there. He's got this big old chin. Cigar sticking out of it right there. The eyes are going to be right on the, a little bit above that middle. And then we've got the hat. The hat is going to be, here's my square for the hat. Look at that square shape fitting in there. And there's my square. The hat's a little bit bigger than that. The hat is a little bit wider with a little bit of a taper. Kind of like right in there like that. Oh, there's the hat. Curved top. So there's my hat. With the, I don't know, that is called the brim. Yeah, it's called the brim. That's what that's called. The brim. The brim, the brim. All right, so the nose does come out from the center. Here's the center, comes out this way. I'm gonna give it some space. Here's my axis lines. There's my center, my circle right there. We're going out a little bit, bringing it down. And then getting that shape of that nose. He definitely squints. He definitely squints. That's what really makes Clint the squint. He squints his eyes. All right, and then the shape of his nose. So there is it's gonna go down here and then it wraps around here. I'm getting that wrap of that nose. This right in here. So I'm getting this shape and then this line up here. There is a little bit of a pull. I'm getting a little bit of a pull, but I get more or less that angle from here to here and then around to the bottom of that circle. We're going around that pointy part. Then you get a little bit of nostril. I mean, it's really cool. You can see the experience he has in drawing faces because it just captures a little bit of that nostril, the ala, the wing. All right, so a little bit, I kind of lost it in there, all my scribbles. Then on this side, let's get the ala, the wing. A little bit of that wing. I'm doing the top part. Right on that, this part of that nose, the ala. Then we've got the actual nostril in here. Let me zoom in and get a better view. I lost that other nostril a little bit, but it's in there. It's really small. And you've got that nostril. And then he's got a lot of shading. There's a lot of shading and stuff. And this thickness of this nose is a little, I can put in a line for it. He's got wrinkles on it. But it goes up to this middle line right in there. Right there. Yeah, there we go. Something like that. There's his nose. Let's get those eyes in. I'm putting a little bit of shading and just these little subtle things. So if you don't capture them, you might not look exactly the same. That's okay. Just let it go. Just say, okay, it's just all just practice. There it is. There's my nose. You can see that. Let's get these eyes. All right, so I'm gonna definitely squinting right on that center line, my axis line. I'm gonna capture that a slight angle down, and then angle up, and then in. Like that shape there. Then on this other side as well. Down, come down a little bit. Yeah, there's a lot happening in there. The top is smoother. You get little hints of eyelash, and just really slight hints of eyelash. Really subtle stuff, and like the little bit of a like wraps around that bag, and then just kind of comes up, just like really subtle, really slight changes. All right. Then up in here, this squinting eyes. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and put the, those are the eyes. I'm going to go ahead and put the eyebrows, and then everything else just really squinting. He really squints. So this swoop right here, this is what you want to do for the swoop of this eyebrow. The eyebrow swoops and comes down over the eye, right in here, just like that. This swoops down. Just cut into it a little bit. And then the thickness of that eyebrow come up over, and it kind of tapers. Up here it gets lost in that shadow, but there's that eyebrow. Comes down, gets thinner as it comes down, then comes up. That shape, that's the general shape. Same thing on the other side, comes to a point, and then it's just straight. And then it goes up, then over. Against, it goes against, right against that eye, just a little bit against that eyelash. up, and notice how it tapers. It does actually get a little bit thinner as it comes up and out. That's it. There's my eyes. Now all the little wrinkles and stuff, the detail, See, now you got this form. Now we can just put the detail on it and just try to get the distance of it. You've got these wrinkles in here. Really well done. I mean, oh my gosh, it's so well done, because he does that with his face. He crinkles it. Even reminds me of Jim Carrey. Jim Carrey does an impersonation of him, and Jim Carrey just like totally wrinkles his face up to kind of, and squints his eyes. And I'm looking for the man who shot my paw. There we go. And I didn't even shoot for accuracy. I just kind of threw those wrinkles in there. And he's even got wrinkles on his nose up in here. So I'm gonna just go on this side, on the left side, just a couple wrinkles. I'm just kind of go in there like that. I guess trying to make them look like wrinkles, not like stitches. It's all good. All right, those eyes look good. He's got these bags. There's a bag. Where do you want these bags? There's another bag here. This is the general shape, but yeah, there's wrinkles in there, but you want to see this form, that shape. And then he's got all the crow's feet. Some crazy crow's feet. And the color, I mean, oh my gosh, the shading that they use is amazing. It'd be fun to paint. As you can see the different shades, the different colors, the highlights. Wrinkles on top of wrinkles, kind of like that. Shading, a little bit of a highlight. Really just it takes some observing to really capture all this. Some more wrinkles. The wrinkles can be just, I mean, I'm just like slightly putting them in. Once I have the shape, the form, I'm just kind of like slightly putting these wrinkles in, like even just 2 right in here. 1, 2. And then on this other side, the crow's feet. Just really slightly, really light. Don't go heavy with it. Don't go heavy. That's something you can probably be doing. And that's just noticing the value. Notice how dark I went with this line here, how light I'm going with this stuff here. It's something, you know, you don't notice as a beginner, the lightness and the darkness, and pressing lighter, pressing darker with your pencil. Pressing dark to get it darker. All that is takes time. All right, so I'm going to go around. Here's the cheekbone, around that area, around the circle. Then it comes down right in there. I'm not going to go all the way down. As, we've got the nose, the mustache, and that cigar to put in there. But yeah, it comes down. The hair's coming over, but I'm just trying to capture that cheekbone. That cheekbone goes around there, up in here. Then all this is under the hat. All this is shade. Like that's really cool. It the soft shade where that hat starts. And here goes that mask on the other side. All that is hair. There's a thickness of hair. All this area is where I'm going to put hair in on this left side, which I still need to. I'm just capturing the shape of it. The shape as it comes over the nose. Actually, it's up a little bit higher above the nose, and then it shoots down. Right above the nose, and then it shoots down. And this is his beard. This is his beard. His beard goes all across his face up in here. But you want to capture that. All right, there's his beard. Let's do all this muscle here. It swoops over it almost like an S. It goes up and then back and forth. See, like this, like a letter S. Notice how it curves like the letter S. That really helps. I'm exaggerating a little bit, but it's right there, that like a letter S. All right, that looks good. That looks good. Bring that that shadow of that cheekbone. I'm gonna bring up the lips a little bit higher now that I'm looking at them. I'm looking at the spacing here. Well, let's see, the mustache is gonna be here. Lips might go up a little bit higher. And if you want, you can just like scribble it in lightly. I'm scribbling it in really light where it's gonna go, just to get the feel of it. And then you can go darker. When you're first learning, it doesn't matter how long it takes, as long as it takes. Nobody's gonna know and see, look at it and say, hey, this took you, how long did it take you to draw? Well, I was here drawing for like 5 hours. I go pretty quickly. So, I mean, it doesn't matter how long it takes you. It really doesn't. As long as it takes. You know, you want to go for the long game. The long game. Be patient. Drawing will test you. Drawing will test your patience. God, give me patience and I want it right now. All right, so this
It won't test your patience as much as knitting.
Really?
I've been trying for a month to knit one simple sock.
Oh gosh. Yeah, knitting does take some time. But a little bit of shade on the nose, yeah, knitting. And I would get the yarn from my mom and spread it all out all over the floor. She would knit caps, knit all kinds of stuff, blankets, mostly blankets. I'd see her knitting. Oh man. All right, there we go. There's the nose. And I did a lot of little shading, all this subtle shading, really just getting their pencil to do the subtle stuff takes some time. But you start light and then you just go darker. Like here that in the mustache, I went light, but I need to go darker. And get this shape. I already kind of got it in there. And the way that the mustache goes up and down, and then try to get some of those hairs in there. I can shade it in and then get the texture of that hair. Try to get the texture of the hair on top. See, like I did the shading already, but I can go on top and try to get that texture. Then you got the lip that goes underneath. Lip. Going around the cigar. Cigar. Really sharp and dark to a point. All right, there's a little circle. That's what we're going to aim for. So here's the beginning of the cigarette. Then it ends out here. It's going to end out here. So I'm looking at where it's at. I kind of have a little guideline right there already. And I know it's going to end out here. I wanted to make sure it ends out here. There, right there. See, right there. So now all I need to do is just connect it. Connect it to there. I know where it starts. I know where it stops. And everything else in the middle is everything else in the middle. And then just shade it in. It's actually pretty dark. All right, there he is. Great book. It's in the comments. Take a look at it. All right. Top lip slightly shaded, really slight. Here's that bottom. It's interesting here. The mouth. There's a little bit of a line. And it goes in and in like that. Just that little line of that mouth. And then the bottom lip, it pulls over and almost wraps around that. Wraps around this cigarette. What do you call that little cigarette? A little bit of shade. A little bit of chin hair. Then all this is exaggerated. All this is going to be where that beard kind of comes in, but it's going to be soft. But I can see this shape in here. Oops, I can see this shape right in there. That shape, and there should be more space on this side than on this side. This side should be thinner, and this side, because it's a 3/4, kind of like a 3/4 view almost. So this side's thinner. This side's wider. It's kind of like that paper that was wrapped. That was a really cool example. So here's the beard. All this is beard. Oh, this is going to be beard. Oh, this is beard. Oh, that is beard. I'm just shading it in real quick. Oh, there it is. Let's start zooming out a little bit. Yeah, you can see it coming in. There he is. All right, so you got this shape for the hair. You got this shape for the hair. Getting a little silly. You know it's getting late. All right, here we go. So the hat is on fire. It comes down in the center. So it goes up, down in the middle, then back up again. See, there's a little bit of a wing happening to it. Slight pull in the middle, and then it wraps, goes to an oval or an ellipse kind of shape right in there as it comes back. The same thing on the left side. And it comes in. All this would be in shade. It does have a little bit of highlights up at top. This person, whoever did this, really studied light and the way light hits his objects and stuff. It's amazing. Every little detail. I mean, there's a little bit of a light pass up on top. Value-wise, this should actually, my pencil should actually be going darker. This is a 3H. I need a darker one. That's okay. We'll just work within our parameters. This is shaded. I mean, there's all this little subtle stuff going on. There's a lot of little subtle stuff. You kind of have to capture it or not, but see it. It's hard to capture just with a pencil when it's done with painting, but it's doable. We're doing as best we can. There we go. There's the hat. Yeah, because it's you see the light right at the edge. That light edge comes in still, like up in here, slightly for contrast. And the light's coming from the right. You can see the hat is all lit up right here on this right side. Even the face slightly lit on the right, although the neck's glowing on the left as well. Could be reflected light. All right, I'm gonna make the hat a little bit taller, I feel. Let me see. It should come, maybe. I'm gonna bring it out slightly. Enlarge it. I'm gonna make it a little bit bigger. Bring it down. Get right in there, that's good. That's good. I'm feeling that. That feels solid. And then all this is dark on the left. Shade it all in. And then on the right, it starts getting lighter. But I can shade it all in one shade and build up my shades. See how this is going to be there. And then I can actually go darker on the left with another pass. This left side is darker. And this pencil doesn't go that dark, but it is darker there. Try to keep that dark on the left, and then probably put another pass underneath this whole. Let's go darker, and this actually blends into the hair or the beard right in here. Blends in there. I'm gonna go darker here as well. Darker. Try to get this area dark, 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 dark. Pencil not going as dark as I'd like, if it's all good. This whole edge right in here, this whole edge goes lighter. I mean, there's a really nice little light glow at the edge of the hat, which is hard to capture, but not impossible. All right, there we go. There's the hat as it blends into the beard. And then now let's do the ear and all the other details. All right, because there's a lot of little hairs flipping in there, but I'm not worried about those just yet. They're in there. Let's get this ear. The ear's two parts. You got that part and then the lobe. The lobe comes in here. Now what's happening with this ear is attached to the jaw, and the jaw, there's a slight sliver, say that 5 times fast. There's a slight sliver of jaw in here between the hair and the beard. And actually this kind of comes straight down. From the ear, it comes straight down. Probably pretty close to vertical. Really close to vertical down here, down to the neck. This whole right there, down, straight down, and then adding to that. There we go. And here's the beard, and there's that slight sliver. You gotta want to keep that slight sliver as it comes down. That slight sliver. I hate sliver. No, liver. It's a sliver, not liver. Oh. Now this is what's really cool when you sing Papa shapes and Mama shapes. These are Mama shapes right here. You have two Mama shapes. You have one here and one right here. It goes a little bit below this beard. It's like these two shapes. And then you have baby shapes, the hair that kind of goes all through it, but it kind of goes like that. You have this circle shape, this shape, and then it curves out a little bit with little hairs, a slight curve right there. And all that would be, here we go. Here's another shape right in here. Slight, just kind of going around there and then here, but bring out some more hair in there. I'm going to shade all this in now. All this in, all the shapes that I just did, I'm going to shade it all in. Just shade it, shade it, shade it. We'll loosen it up right now with the hair, but just so you can see the shape. Shade it all in. Go. Flat the ear. I'm going to shade the ear in just slightly. It's like a really quick shade. Pencil shade right in there. Now the hair. All right, let's start off with the hair that goes over the ear, and it just slightly curls. It's just like a little bit of curls. It's kind of like, here we go, just curls this hair. It's just curling over the ear right in there. And you can see it, it shows up too much. What's important is that outside part. So I'm going to darken all this as it comes up and in, and you would bring that up and out, this darkness on this other side. And try to get, I'm getting soft edges by going in circles, good little circles, softening up these edges. If there's really something that's really sharp and hard, like here, it's sharp and hard, I'm just softening it up as I bring it out. Now you can see it's just all soft right in there. Right there, I can even still put on the inside. We won't talk about these hairs, but I just did them just really quick. I mean, it's like they happen so fast. All right, so let's first do the hair on his hair on his head. There's like three swoops. There's like three swoops, three strands. I can see the three clusters. There are three clusters. There's one here, one cluster. There's one, and then there's another cluster kind of there. And then there's another cluster like right in there. Just not great, but that's good enough. Those clusters, three clusters. And then here, this other hair kind of wraps around, swoops out here now. See all this, and it's almost like I'm scribbling over the edge to softening. It's almost softening of the edge, softening of the edge. I don't know, that girl we drew, I don't know when was it, with her hair. That was really cool. That's what we're doing here. We're seeing the parts and the baby parts. See you can see the mama parts, the mama shapes, now all this baby detail. All this little detail, the hair, but it's all kind of wrapping around the shape here, wrapping around. I see that just like that. There, add some more little hairs on the side, just like it hasn't shaved for weeks. And as it comes down the neck, it kind of gets smaller and almost gets lost as fuzz on his neck back here. Right as it goes down. All right, we're almost done. We need the beard and the clothing, the beard, the neck, and the clothing, and we're done. All right, I already started. I jumped the gun right in here, just really quick. But there's shadow in here for the neck, for the cheekbones, and then there's lines in here for the beard as well, as I'm going on top of it again. And these are just cross hatching. This is just my practice from cross hatching, making lines right in here. And I'm using that skill to kind of like put the hair in, just one after the other, just get it in there. I'm radiating it out as it comes out and over. Yep, right in there. I'm focusing on the inside out. So I'm getting those lines, and then as I go out, I'm putting more lines, getting it darker as it comes out, as it radiates out. Here we go. Here's the chin. The chin, rounded chin. Rounded chin. It's not, well, it could be a butt chin. There's a cheek, there's a jaw, there's a little bit of a jaw right there. I'll exaggerate it, I'll put a little bit of a curve on it. And then I'm going to shade all this. I'm going to shade it into my drawing, my beard up here. I'm going to want to lose that. I want it to get lost into the scribble here. I can keep going, scribbling some more, getting it darker as it comes out. Oh yeah, this looks really good. All right. Talk about feeling it. I feel this one. I feel this one. This looks really cool. I like it. I like it. I like it. There's a little bit of a dent on the cap up here. Just put it in really quick. Bam. And all these little details, you can just put them in. It doesn't take that long. But getting that big shapes in and then working in like that. All right, all right. Making this eye a little bit longer. It's got that squint. All right. Yes, I think it's looking really good. Oh, there's more hair on this side, and it just swoops out. Just swoops. See, I'm just swooping it out and just. Yeah, and there's a little bit of a spiral. More hair on this side, a little bit darker, a little more push, a little bit thicker as it goes up here to the top of his head, into the hat a little bit. That whole little area. I'm not getting it that accurate, but that's good enough. Then right on this edge, a little bit, there's little hairs coming out. Oh man, the detail of this thing is insane. Little bits of hair just sticking out right there. Just put them in there. All right, let's get this shaded. All right, let's get that neck and shirt in. Keep your shirt on. Let's put your shirt on. A little bit of a highlight in here. It's actually light in there. We can actually go with the eraser and lighten this side because even this beard is light on this side. If you really look, there's a little bit of light hitting that beard. Then it goes darker on this side, which let's see, I can probably push that darkness with my pencil a little bit harder. Push the darkness, get the darkness in here. Bring the darkness, the values. So bring in that value, try to soften it up without it being overtaking. So yeah, pushing it darker, but this is what's hard, is getting it to just be the right balance of values and blending it so it gets lost because it goes from light on this side and then it goes dark. And this pencil's not the greatest. That's good enough. All right, let's get that neck and then we'll do the shading for it. All right, let's focus in on that neck because you can see and there's really good part of the book talks about the muscles. And this is he calls it a mastoid, I think he just calls it, I don't know, he doesn't call it the whole name. He calls it part of that name. But this is the sternocleidomastoid muscle here. And it's really cool. He does break it down into these angles. Right now, this is mostly a shadow coming here in like that line. So you get this like letter A or V upside down. That, and then you've got the sternocleidomastoid on this side coming in right in here. And shade that slightly on one side. Try to keep that light side. There's like a light on that side, reflected light. It goes to dark and then it goes to light again. There's a patterns of light and dark. So it goes light, dark, light, and then it shades back to dark. Slow shade to dark to this other side. And then that's light and then dark and the dark edge, and then it blends out to light. Because this is rounded and back to dark again. Because it's rounded. And then there's hairs. There's a lot of little hairs and more shadow underneath this neck. Right in there. And just like scribbles. You can scribble, you can put more little hairs coming down to little hairs. Adds to the character. This is just fun. I just like adding that little detail. It's like, it's satisfying actually. It's really satisfying. Just like, let's get it. All right. Now he's got a poncho on, all his clothing and stuff. Let's do that. Got a little slight triangle, so let's just block it all in. All right, so first he's got this collar or bandana. I don't know what it is. It's this shape here, these two angles, 1, 2, and then it comes out again, and then it hangs over, but it's probably more like a bandana. Comes out over and goes over this poncho. And the poncho comes out at an angle, and then there's another angle, like a little triangle, a really pointy triangle in there. And then around this side is the other side of his collar. Bring it out one angle, down at another angle, and then back out at another angle right there. And then I'm going to shade all this in dark. Bam, 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 bam. Wah, wah, wah. Shade all this other side as well. Actually, let's put another little dent. Goes in and out, break into mama shapes or more detailed baby shapes. Bam, bam. Goes over. Bam. Let's shade it all in as well. Oh man, I feel like signing this one. It's all great and dandy, but I didn't. It's just a copy. It's just a copy, and it's okay. Copying is good. You copied that, yeah, copyrighted. I'm not claiming it's mine, but it's good experience. I mean, oh my gosh, if I ever see a guy that kind of looks like this, there he is. I'm gonna draw him like that, but he doesn't have such a beard. He doesn't squint, or try to capture your own. But now you know that's that basic shape, that basic like circle shape with the long. That was one of them. Let's see if I can find it. Where's my old drawings? Oh, here it is. One of these shapes. One of these nights. One of these crazy old nights. Which one was it? I thought we had one. It's kind of like this one, but the cheeks go out. Huh. I thought there was one. Oh, here, this one's probably closest to it, that one. This one right here. But it's a lot closer and longer without the shift in the changing the angles. All right. He's coming along. There we go. Let's keep going. Let's finish this. He's got his poncho. His poncho goes out. And let's finish this first. It's going over the poncho that, and then he's got his, it's going to be in this area. I'm going to lift it up a little bit higher. That was it right there. I know it's going to be a little bit higher now. And it goes up, down, up, down. So it goes up, down, up, down, and it tapers. It gets a little bit smaller as it goes to the end. And then I think it goes up again. Something like that. Something like lightning. But notice the shape. It goes, these are triangle shapes. These are triangle shapes as they taper, as it gets. And we can soften and round those edges. See, we got the angles, but now we can round it a little bit more. Make it not so geometric. Make it a little more fluid. But you saw the angles, and then you saw me soften those angles. If not, rewind 10 seconds or 30 seconds. There we go. That's it. Did it so fast? Hands faster. Yeah. All right, let's get that poncho in there. Really nice design on that poncho. It's really cool. It's this side comes out and it tapers out. It goes wider as it goes out. Then here's a, it's because it's folded underneath. And I think that's all I see. There's a fold right there. So the way it just folds over. And I'm just gonna shade it all in one shade. I don't know if I'll get the, there we go. And there's some designs on it. I don't know if you want to throw some designs. I'm just gonna scribble them in. And a little triangle there. So I just look and I just draw. I look and I try to capture what I see. See, one little, two little. There we go. There's a little bit of a shadow under here on the side. And that's it. All right. Oh, I want to sign this one. I like it. All right, there it is. Thank you for joining us. Woo, we did it. All right, if anybody wants to share online as we're recording, or if we can just, I can stop recording. Thank you for joining us. Make sure to ring the bell. I got to say that I have to come up with my ending. Make sure to subscribe. Make sure to ring the bell. Make sure to do what you need to do if you want to see more. Thumbs up. Buttercup. All right. Thank you for joining us. Good.
Eladio, I can share. I'm happy to share.
Oh, sure. All right, cool. Let's take a look. It'll be recorded in posterity. All right, let's see. Oh, here we go. Where are you?
I'm
Oh, here we go.
I'm right here.
There you go. I see you. Everybody sees you. All right, cool. Oh, there's your shapes.
So
There.
there's not much light, right? I should probably
Wow, look at that. You went big with it. Wow, that's awesome. Look at that. Good to see you. You're out in New York, huh?
No, I'm in LA.
Oh, you're in LA now. Wow. Wow. I thought
Yeah,
you
I've
were.
never been in New York. I am from New York. I mean, I lived in New York for a long time, but
Okay. There's the muscles. Very nice.
yeah, that was great. That was these were all great exercises. And then I also enjoyed Clint Eastwood.
Oh, yeah, there he is. That's good. There he is. Awesome. Sweet. Very nice. Very nice. Thank you for sharing.
Thank you so much, Eladio, for a great evening, as always.
Oh,
Very
you're
inspiring.
good to see you.
Good
All
to
right.
see you too.
All right. Bye-bye. Peggy.
Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye-bye. All right, Peggy, you want to share? No? Yes, you got your hand up. I see it. Your spotlight.
Okay. Okay.
All right. And look, there's the shapes. Good, good shapes. Awesome. The foundation. And
Yeah, this is good.
the peanut shape, I saw it. Fantastic. Ah, look at that.
I did enjoy doing this.
That's great. I'm glad.
Yeah, the muscles made me think of the O'Reilly head.
Yeah. Yeah, the O'Reilly method. That's the rhythms. Oh, look at that. That's cool. Nice, nice. Thank you for
Thank
sharing.
you.
Awesome.
Thank you.
All right, everybody. Good night. Thank you. Thank you, everybody. We'll see you Thursday and then next week. I think we got a couple more weeks and then that's it. We're going on vacay. All right. So make sure to join our Facebook group too. That's what we'll be doing stuff in there. All right, everybody. Good night. Thank you for joining us.